I hope this is not the end, but here's to hoping. Honestly, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but judging by what this looks like, ReMemento, well, I wouldn't anticipate there being a future. Like, let me just clear the air here. A couple months ago, it turns out the game launched globally, to the surprise of nobody, to the hype of nobody. The reason nobody was hyped, the reason nobody was excited was because the game came out of nowhere. This was a beautiful game. I mean, insanely detailed open world, great turn-based combat. There was so much going for it. And then it just like shadow launched globally. The developers decided they were going to self-publish. They decided they were going to self-localize, probably utilize the AI to do it. And they had no marketing budget whatsoever. They told people that in reality, what would have to save global were global players spending money on it. So global players didn't even know the game launched, and thus, by extension of not knowing the game was out, couldn't play it, and thus couldn't spend in it. When you can't spend in a game because you don't know it exists, and the future of the game is dependent on you spending on it, then you're ultimately going to fail. That makes sense, right? Like they can understand this, they can process that this is an outcome that is very likely. If you don't market your game, if you're not paying content creators, if you're not spending money to advertise it on YouTube, social media, Reddit, Twitter, then no one's gonna know your game exists. Brother, come on. So then the game, they ended up doing very poorly. And within like a month or two after launching globally, they issued a public service announcement where they went on to state, we are essentially releasing 70% of our workforce. 70%. That means the team would be 30% the size of when they released. As an example here, Kudo, who do Wuthering Waves, they grew from like a couple hundred members to several thousand. And that is how many people are required to work on Kudo's games, PGR and Wuwa. Hoyo has thousands of people working there. So many games have thousands of active employees. This game went from like 100 to 20 something or 30. Yeah, it took hundreds of people to make the game, but to continue to produce content, it should tactically require more if they want to expand, but instead they reduced by 70%. Not just that, but instead of releasing a large amount of new content to keep players eagerly engaged, continuing to come back in the future for more content, what they did was they just re-released old characters. So that was it. There was nothing to warrant players returning or warrant players continuing to play. And then here we are, 3 days ago. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but this may spell the end of ReMemento. A recolored skin, really, with the paid pass giving a whole load of pulls does not sit well with me. A recolored skin. Okay, yeah, I mean that. So, okay, we have two dudes that are like, how can we make money? You know what we could do? You know that cute skin? Yeah, let's just re-release it, but make it orange instead of blue. And, oh my God, like, you genuinely can't make this up. Like, that is the sign of the lowest quality form of update you could imagine. And then there is a premium pass, a paid pass that gives you a ton of pulls. Literally, look at this. Look at this. They're just pulls. That's it. What the actual fuck is this? There's nothing else there. I hope that the layoffs were a temporary thing. I mean, dude, no, you don't lay off 70% of your company, say that global is going to have to save your game, and then assume that you're going to be capable of coming back. No. Before we go any further, I do want to take a moment here to thank all of my incredible patrons over on Patreon and my YouTube channel members who allow for me to continue to do dedicated videos like this every single day. You guys are absolutely phenomenal, and I genuinely cannot thank you all enough for the support. Just the game is not very demanding with the Genshin graphics. However, I held high hopes for a game that lost its developers, then the players, and finally its funding. So long to a game that had potential. When their lead dev put out a statement saying, don't worry, when they laid off like 70% of their workforce, I knew it was going downhill from there. Who the hell wouldn't worry when there's a mass exodus of employees, plus all their scattered releases? Made sense to think that this game was just a quick cash grab, which is honestly kind of sad, because it really was genuinely a surprisingly cool game, and I was really excited to see how it grew. Rough. I love the world, the story, and the characters when I played. Even the side quests were entertaining. The reason I quit were the dailies being unfun. I mean, that's like Genshin in a nutshell, right? It was a PNG collector, a notification clicking simulator. Oh my god. Who even plays it anymore? Evidently nobody, which is why the content we got here was a recolored skin. Yeah, not new characters, not a new skin, a recolored already existing skin. Today's release is getting pretty dead. Their Discord server was changed to 7 Nights Rebirth as nobody was playing. Wait, I'm sorry. Hold on. Okay, so there are two things I need to unload here, decompress here, and address. On the one hand, this is being done by the same people that are doing 7 Nights Rebirth, the game that's releasing on the 18th of September. That's honestly kind of concerning if that is in fact the case. And then secondly, they decided to take the public Discord for their game and retitle it into 7 Nights Rebirth. Are you serious? They couldn't even take the time to create a new public Discord. If this is genuine, like if this right here is actual factual, holy crap, that is, I mean, indicative of exactly what's happening. Let's be honest, and that is that the game is dying. Name the game. I mean, didn't he name it like right here? I think you said ReMemento. Yeah, so I mean, I like it. It has potential. I pray that if worse comes to worse, it gets bought by another company. Worse has come to worse, my guy. The game is effectively dead. There is no coming back from this. They literally renamed the public Discord for the game. I'm sorry. It doesn't matter if you liked it. I liked it. I did a very positive video on this game, but it doesn't matter because ultimately, they've already fired the majority of their workforce and no one is left here. Just no one at all. That's incredibly sad to see. It's incredibly sad to hear. But I mean, when your game sucks, ultimately, and nobody really cares about it, and when you don't market it yourself, yeah, what do you expect is gonna happen? Again, you can't just release a game that nobody knows exists and then expect it to be a success. That's not how this works, man. I hope if they are in fact the people behind 7 Nights Rebirth that they do better with it and they market this better, because this right here, this is a failure only due to its lack of marketing. That is it. Because this could have been an overwhelming success. I know you think that you just hit the end of the video, and technically, yeah, you have. And I know your first reaction is to close out of it at this juncture, but don't. No, instead, I urge you to take a moment here and click one of the videos on screen that are coming up in just a moment so you remain up to date with everything going on in the gacha genre. Trust me, you're not going to regret doing so. Stay flaccid.